Good morning and welcome. I'd like to read the centering thought before we hear the music. It comes from Kahlil Gibran's book, Jesus, the Son of Man. Your neighbor is your other self, dwelling behind a wall. In understanding, all walls shall fall down. Barbara?
Good morning. I will be playing in the spirit of Halloween, a piece called Phantoms by our beloved American composer Amy Beach. This is from earlier in her career, 1892.
Thank you, Barbara. That wasn't too spooky. So I'd like to welcome you, those who are here and those at home and those on YouTube later. Welcome to Summit UUF, and we're happy that you're here. And the modern Unitarian Universalist believes that every individual has the right to explore spirituality and religion for themselves, free from the constraints of dogma or doctrine. We believe all things are beloved and are worthy just because they are. We believe in a future where we are all treated equitably, but recognize the inequalities in this world and seek to work to tear down the structures that uphold them. At the center of all, there is love, love for our world, love for each other, and love for ourselves. And in that nature of love, I'd like to remind us that we are on the unceded territory of the Kumeyaay people. And our brothers and sisters at Deer Park Monastery up in Escondido wrote a lovely little paragraph on Indigenous Peoples Day this past Monday. Long before we arrived, the Kumeyaay and Lusueño peoples lived, loved, and practiced their ways of harmony with one another and with the natural world. Their presence is still alive in the stones and the streams, and in reality as people as well, in the whisper of the wind through the chaparral, and in the laughter of the coyotes at dawn and at dusk. As we walk each day upon this sacred earth, we vow to keep their spirit of harmony alive, not only by remembering them, but by continuing their way of deep reverence for all beings, the four-legged, the winged, the rooted, the flowing, and the blowing. May our steps and actions reflect their wisdom of interbeing with the rocks and the mountains, the air and waters, the earth and the vast sky. And so we have a special social justice day today, and we have special guest speaker Hannah Cano and her friend Terry from Western Service Workers, and so they'll be enlightening us more about Western Service Workers and all the good that they do in our community. The ripples continue. So we have several announcements, so please make them short because I think we have 4, so let's see, who would like to start? I forgot who now. Mary?
Good morning.
Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Hi. Today, following the service, we're having a lunch in the RE space for all of our families and anybody who's interested in learning more about a religious exploration program or possibly wants to volunteer and work with our children. So I made homemade butternut squash soup and homemade sourdough bread that came out of the oven this morning. So I'm tempting y'all to come back and have some with us. So that'll be at 11:30-ish in the RE space. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim?
Good morning. I'm Jim Weed. I'm the chairperson of the Summit's Welcoming and Membership Committee, and I'm here to invite newcomers, visitors to our next Getting to Know Us event, which will be on November 23rd at 11:30 a.m. I do this all the time. I don't know why. And it's going to be next door in the library. And it'll be an opportunity for you to learn more about Unitarian Universalism, Summit UU Fellowship, all about its history and its programs. And also, you'll get a chance to know more people in our community, especially some of those that are in leadership roles. To entice people to show up, we always serve a light lunch, so the commitment we ask of you is if you are planning to attend, let us know to make sure we don't run out of food. My contact information, my email address will be in the weekly e-news and then the scene for November. I also have a sign-up sheet at the visitors table. I'm not always here every Sunday, but every Sunday I'm here, it'll be there. So I'm looking forward to see people at this event, and make sure you bring your questions. Thank you.
Roland, did you have an announcement?
Buenos dias. Thanksgiving is upon us, and there are many people in our group who are alone. And I need to let you know that no matter who you are, or where you are, or what you are never alone. And so on Thanksgiving Day at my house, we're going to have a gigantic, humongous Thanksgiving party. Turkey, dressing, ham, yada, yada, yada. And everyone will bring their very, very best culinary delight. Next week, I will have a sign-up sheet for folks that want to come. One or two folks, I think it'd be great to see you there. It will be an all-day event. So it will give me an opportunity to teach you how to play Risk and how to beat you. So please come and look for the sign-up sheet. I'll be passing around little commitment pieces.
Thank you. We're beginning to drool already. And now our special fairy with information on the auction.
My dear fairy friends, winged and unwinged, you have done such a wonderful job helping all of the amazing auction teams come together, and I am so excited to welcome you to the magical fairy garden on November 8th. The auction opens November 1st. That's next Saturday. I will not see you to remind you before the auction opens, and you will have the option to bid on silent auction items online. And then they will be available for final bidding when you come at 5 o'clock on November 8th. Tickets to the auction are now available to buy. We encourage you to buy before, and that will help the auction team. There are also raffle tickets available today, and our raffle items are available on the back table to put your raffle tickets in after you have purchased them. There are also some costume items available today in the salon. Booze. We are still accepting booze until next week. Mr. Old Batman will be accepting them. And if you have items that you are not sure if they are still good, this is a good opportunity for us to open them at the bar, sample them, smell them, and put them out if they're good, and toss them if they're not. So if you have some old items, feel free to bring them. We love variety. Visit our table in the salon. Thank you.
So hurry up and buy your tickets and get that bidding paddle that you need. All right, so we now will light the chalice. Thank you, Ren. And we have words, a quote from Cesar Chavez as we light this chalice, saying to great leaders, to make a great dream come true, first requires a great capacity to dream. The second is persistence. And Mark Reuter adds to this, saying, it is from dreams that visions arise, and from visions strategy, from strategy goals, and from goals results. So now it's time for us to stand for our congregational hymn and our aspiration. The words will be on the screen. Please be seated. So our reading today comes from Jan Richardson, an artist and a minister in the United Methodist Church, entitled When We Breathe Together. This is the blessing we cannot speak by ourselves. This is the blessing we cannot summon by our own devices, cannot shape to our own purposes, cannot bend to our own will. This is the blessing that comes when we leave behind our aloneness, when we gather together, when we turn toward one another. This is the blessing that blazes among us when we speak the words strange to our ears, when we finally listen into the chaos, when we breathe together at last. So thank you for breathing together. And now if you will rise again as you are able to sing from the Gray Hymnal, number 121, We'll Build a Land. Please be seated. So we come to our time of joys and concerns, and these can be emailed to Reverend Casey or to Stacy during the week, or filled out with little slips here in the sanctuary, and you can light a candle at any time. And we know sometimes our joys and concerns are held within our hearts, and so we bless all of those today. We have a joy from Mary, whose dear Papa Paul Carter is now here for an extended visit. So we bless you in your time with us. And we also hold the light around each person's concern that you hold in your hearts, knowing that all good is forthcoming. And breathing and working together, we have hope. So now we have time for all ages with Mary and Mar. Si se puede. Yes, we can.
Let's see, this way probably. Good morning. We're going to have the pictures up here, but we're reading Si se puede, Yes We Can, and it's written in both English and Spanish. I'm going to read the English part as it's written in the book first, and then Mar's going to read the Spanish. Is it the other way? Spanish first? I'm going to do the Spanish? No, you don't want that. So, yeah, do we have the first slide? We're working on sharing it. There it is. There's the title. All right. So you want to go to the next one? Yes, you guys can all come sit, for sure. Okay. Sleep with the angels, Carlitos, says Mama when she tucks me in. See you in the morning, I say, and close my eyes. While everyone sleeps, my mama goes to work. She rides the bus into downtown Los Angeles, where skyscrapers shoot up from the sidewalks at night. And at night, the streets are empty.
Que sueñes con los angelitos.
Is it on? The hand mic.
Que sueñes.
Oh, he's turning it on. Hold on one second. There you go. Now.
Que sueñes con los angelitos, Carlitos, dice mamá cuando me tapa con las cobijas. Hasta mañana, le digo y cierro los ojos. Mientras todo el mundo duerme, mi mamá va al trabajo. El autobús la lleva al centro de Los Ángeles, donde los rascacielos se alzan de las aceras. Por la noche, todas las calles están vacías.
It's quiet when Mama goes into the tall glass office building where she scrubs the bathroom tiles so they shine like the moon, cleans the tall glass windows so they are clear as the lake where my papa taught me to swim, and mops and polishes the floor so smooth you can slide on them if you take off your shoes. After that, she sorts and dumps all the trash. The sun is ready to rise when she takes the bus back home again to me.
Todo está silencioso cuando mi mamá entra en el alto edificio de oficinas de vidrio, donde ella friega los azulejos de los baños hasta que brillan como la luna. Limpia las ventanas altas de cristal hasta ponerlas tan claras como el lago donde mi papá me enseñó a nadar. Y limpia y les da brillo a los pisos hasta que quedan tan lisos que podrías deslizarte por ellos si te quitaras los zapatos. Luego se para y tira toda la basura. El sol está a punto de salir, cuando ella sabe que el autobús va a volver a casa y a mí.
When I wake up, Mama is always in the kitchen talking to my abuelita. We all eat breakfast together. Abuelita fixes me a bean burrito for my lunch. When I'm ready, Mama walks me to the school bus. Sleep with the angels, Mama, I call out the window. Have a good day at school, she says. Then she goes back home to bed.
Cuando me despierto, mamá siempre está en la cocina hablando con mi abuelita. Nos desayunamos juntos. Mi abuelita me prepara un burrito con frijoles para el almuerzo. Y cuando estoy listo, mamá me acompaña a la parada del autobús escolar. Que sueñes con los angelitos, mamá, le grito desde la ventana. Que la pases bien en la escuela, dice. Entonces vuelve a la casa a dormir.
One night, Mama said, "Do you know, Carlitos, I can't take care of you and your abuelita the way I want to." She sat me on her lap to explain. Even though I work full-time as a janitor, I also have to clean houses and wash clothes on the weekend. That means we don't have any time together, and I can't afford to buy the medicine abuelita needs to help her sore bones feel better. I looked at my abuelita. I looked at my mama. I looked at the family photo on the wall. My favorite was the one of her dressed in her wedding gown with my papa. When Papa was still alive, we all lived in Mexico, the country where I was born.
Una noche mamá me dijo, ¿sabes, Carlitos? No puedo cuidarte a ti ni a tu abuelita como yo quisiera. Me sentó en sus rodillas para explicármelo. Aunque trabajo tiempo completo como conserje, también tengo que limpiar casas y lavar ropa los fines de semana. Por eso no tenemos tiempo juntos y aún así no tengo dinero para comprar la medicina que la abuelita necesita para que no le duelan sus huesitos. Miré a la abuelita y miré a mamá, miré las fotos de la familia en la pared, Mi favorita era la de ella vestida de novia con mi papá, cuando papá vivía todavía. Todos vivíamos en México, el país donde yo nací.
Carlitos, she said, to work so hard and get paid so little isn't fair. So today, all the janitors met outside the union hall and voted to stop working, to strike. We are going to let those offices get dirtier and dirtier, and we won't clean them again until we get the pay raises we deserve. But Mama, can you do that? I asked. That's just what I asked, she said. Can we do this? And all the janitors shouted back at the same time, "Sí se puede." Yes, we can. So tomorrow we're going on strike. And Carlitos, Mama said as she combed her fingers through his hair, for me to put my full heart into this, I'm going to need your help. I hugged my mama. I'll help you, I said. But in bed that night, I couldn't think of what I could do.
Carlitos, trabajar tanto para ganar tan poco no es nada justo. Entonces, hoy todos los trabajadores de limpieza nos reunimos afuera del local del sindicato y votamos para parar de trabajar. Nos declaramos en huelga. Vamos a dejar que las oficinas se pongan cada vez más sucias y no las limpiaremos hasta que no nos aumenten el pago como merecemos. Pero mamá, ¿se puede hacer eso?, le pregunté. Eso lo pregunté yo también, dijo. ¿Se puede hacer eso? Y todos los trabajadores juntos respondieron a gritos, sí se puede, pues mañana vamos de huelga. Y Carlitos, me dijo mi mamá mientras me pasa los dedos por el pelo, para que yo la haga de todo corazón es necesario que tú me ayudes. Abracé a mi mamá. Yo te ayudo, dije, pero en la cama esa noche no pude imaginarme qué podría hacer yo.
Then the strike began. Mama and all the other janitors marched, held rallies, and had lots of meetings. Our phone numbers seemed to stop ringing. Every morning, Mama read me the newspaper articles about the strike. She showed me photos of bus drivers, carpenters, ministers, and students, all marching alongside the janitors. Where did they all come from, I asked. Mama's eyes lit up. So many people promised to help us. People from Los Angeles and from all over California and even from other states came to stand with us.
Entonces empezó la huelga. Mamá y todos los trabajadores de limpieza manifestaron, hicieron mítines, se reunieron mucho. Nuestro teléfono no parecía dejar nunca de sonar. Cada mañana mamá me leía artículos del periódico acerca de la huelga. Me mostraba fotos de choferes de autobuses, carpinteros, sacerdotes y estudiantes, todos marchando al lado de los trabajadores. ¿De dónde vinieron todas esas personas?, pregunté. Los ojos de mamá se iluminaron. Tanta gente nos prometió su ayuda. Gente de Los Ángeles, de todas partes de California y hasta de otros estados vino a solidarizarse con nosotros.
I cut out the photos to bring to school, and then I found out I wasn't the only one in my class with parents on strike. Maria's father is also in the union. They are from El Salvador. And Tino's mom, who's from Nicaragua, was out at the marches every day too. Our teacher, Miss Lopez, told our class that when her grandfather came to the United States, he was also treated very badly, just as if he wasn't a person. Grandpa and the other farm workers joined together to fight for a better life, just like the janitors are doing now, she said. Did they win? I asked. You bet they won. When many people join together, they can make a strong force.
Recorté las fotos para llevármelas a la escuela y entonces me di cuenta de que no era el único en mi clase que tenía familiares en huelga. El papá de María también estaba en el sindicato. Son de El Salvador y la mamá de Tino, de Nicaragua. Iba todos los días a las manifestaciones también. Nuestra maestra, la señorita López, nos contó a la clase que cuando su abuelo vino a los Estados Unidos, lo trataron mal también, como si no fuera un ser humano. El abuelo y los otros trabajadores agrícolas se juntaron para luchar por una vida mejor, como lo están haciendo los trabajadores de limpieza ahora. ¿Y ganaron?, le pregunté. Claro que sí. Cuando mucha gente se junta, puede tener mucho poder.
Mama told me lots of different stories about the strike. So many people have come to support us. Today, a man came out of his building to join our rally. He said he never thought about the janitors who clean his office. But seeing you in the bright light of day, he said, means I can never ignore you again. And this afternoon, even Miss Lopez was there. As the sun set, we stood together and held candles in our hands. And in that silence, we didn't feel how tired we were from marching all day. Instead, we felt the glowing light of our strength.
Mamá me contó varias historias acerca de la huelga. Muchas personas han venido a apoyarnos. Hay un hombre, salió de su edificio para participar en nuestra reunión. Dijo que nunca había pensado en la gente que hacía la limpieza de su oficina. Pero al verlos a plena luz del día, dijo, jamás podré olvidarlos. Y esa tarde hasta la señorita López estaba ahí. Al ponerse el sol nos quedamos parados con velas en la mano. Y en este silencio ya no sentimos el cansancio por haber marchado tanto todo el día. Más bien sentimos la luz radiante de nuestra fuerza.
The next night, I saw my mama on the news making a speech. Hundreds of people were marching behind her. That's when I knew what I could do to help. I'll go downtown too, but with a special surprise.
A la noche siguiente vi a mi mamá en las noticias dando un discurso. Cientos de personas manifestaban detrás de ella. Fue entonces que supe ¿qué podría hacer yo para ayudarla? Yo también iría al centro, pero con una sorpresa especial.
I told my idea to my abuelita and to Miss Lopez. Then I talked to my class and asked all the kids to help. And together we painted signs for the marchers. My favorite sign was the one I painted in the brightest color of all. I love my mama. She is a janitor.
Les conté mi idea a mi abuelita y a la señorita López, y entonces hablé con mi clase, les pedí ayuda a todos los niños y juntos pintamos carteles para los huelguistas. Mi cartel preferido era el que pinté con los colores más fuertes de todos. I love my mama. She is a janitor.
The next day, Miss Lopez took some of the kids from my class on the bus to downtown Los Angeles. When Mama saw us, she was so happy, she almost cried. As we marched, I held up my sign as high as I could. An old man was playing the accordion. Maria's father took a trash can and played it like a big steel drum. Mama held soda cans filled with beans and shook them to the beat of the music. On the sidewalk, people rooted for all of us marchers on the street. There were thousands and thousands of people all around me. I held on tight to Miss Lopez's hand. Carlos, she said, this is a celebration of courage. After 3 long weeks, the strike was over. My mama and the janitors finally got the respect and the pay raises they deserved. Carlitos, Mama said, I couldn't have done it without you. She hung the sign I made on our living room wall. It's the most beautiful sign in the world, she said.
Al día siguiente, la señorita López llevó a algunos de los chicos de mi clase por autobús al centro de Los Ángeles. Cuando mamá nos vio, se puso tan contenta que casi lloraba. Mientras marchábamos, alcé mi letrero tan alto como pude. Un viejo tocaba el acordeón. El papá de María agarró un basurero y lo tocaba como si fuera un tambor enorme de acero. Mamá llevaba latas para refrescos llenas de frijoles duros y los sonaba al compás de la música. En la acera la gente nos animaba a todos los manifestantes en la calle. Había miles y miles de gente a mi alrededor. Apreté fuerte la mano de la señorita López. Carlos, dijo, esta es una celebración al valor. Después de 3 largas semanas se terminó la huelga. Mi mamá y los trabajadores de limpieza por fin recibieron el respeto y los aumentos que merecían. Carlitos, dijo mamá, no pude haberlo hecho sin ti. Colocó el cartel que hice en la pared de la sala. Es el cartel más bonito del mundo.
That night, as always, my mama tucked me into bed. Sleep with the angels, Carlitos. See you in the morning, I said, and closed my eyes. And that night, I had a dream. When my mama took the bus to scrub, mop, and polish in the tall glass office building that shoots up from the streets, I dreamt that angels came down to Los Angeles and sang songs to her while she worked.
Esa noche, como siempre, mi mamá me tapó con las cobijas. Que sueñes con los angelitos, Carlitos. Hasta mañana, dije, y cerré los ojos. Y esa noche tuve un sueño. Cuando mi mamá tomó el camión para fregar, limpiar y pulir en los altos edificios de oficinas de vidrio que se alzan en las calles, soñé que unos ángeles bajaron a Los Ángeles y le cantaban canciones mientras trabajaba.
Now my mama smiles a whole lot more. Abuelita's sore bones feel so much better. She walks with Mama and me to the school bus in the morning. Mama no longer has to clean houses and wash clothes on the weekend. Instead, we go to the park, and on our way home, she lets me buy a peleta or a churro from the man who sells sweets on the corner.
Ahora mi mamá se sonríe mucho más. Los huesos de mi abuelita ya no le duelen tanto. Nos acompaña a mí y a mi mamá a la parada del autobús escolar por la mañana. Mamá ya no tiene que limpiar casas y lavar ropa los fines de semana. En vez de eso, vamos al parque y de regreso me deja comprar una paleta o un churro del vendedor de dulces de la esquina.
One Saturday morning, the phone rang right after we got home from the park. I'll be there, Mama said before she hung up. Carlitos, she said, I have a promise I must keep, to be there when other workers need my help. Who needs your help, Mama? I asked. People who clean hotel rooms. So this afternoon I'm going to meet with them. Just as she was about to leave, I said, Mama, wait. I took down my sign from the living room wall and walked out with her. That afternoon, we joined the workers and marched up and down in front of the hotel. Mama and I met lots of new friends, and together we shouted, "Sí se puede."
Un sábado por la mañana sonó el teléfono, justo al volver del parque. ¡Ya voy!, dijo mamá antes de cortar la comunicación. Carlitos, hice una promesa que debo cumplir, apoyar a los otros trabajadores que necesitan de mi ayuda. ¿Quién necesita de tu ayuda, mamá?, le pregunté. Los trabajadores que limpian las habitaciones de hoteles, pero esta tarde voy para estar con ellos. Pero justo cuando ella estaba por salir, le dije, mamá, espera. Bajé mi cartel de la pared de la sala y salí con ella. Esa tarde nos juntamos con los trabajadores y marchamos de un lado para otro delante del hotel. Mamá y yo conocimos a muchos amigos nuevos y todos juntos gritamos, ¡sí se puede!
Perfect. Thank you, Mar, for
Gracias.
reading that in Spanish. That's wonderful. All right, we're going to go back to Ari, where we're going to talk about compassion and inclusion and play some Halloween games. So we are Unitarian Universalists, a people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. And then we're going to head off to Ari.
if you would stand, please, to sing hymn number 360, Here We Have Gathered, from the Gray Hymnal.
Oh, great. Please be seated. And now as we get ready to hear our speaker, we have a few words from the Upanishads, the holy words from India, which said that the interconnected universe vision was a single unifying principle behind apparent diversity. And this quote says, "You are what your deepest desire is. As is your desire, so is your intention. As is your intention, so is your will. As is your will, so is your deed. As is your deed, so is your destiny." Let's take those words into the silence for a few moments. And so now I'd like to introduce Hannah Cano from Western Service Workers and Terry, who will be giving us some more information about working in community.
Hello. Hi, good morning. I'm Hannah Cano. This is Terry Altarelli. Thank you for having us. I have a little bit of a cough, so I'm going to have my mask on so I don't spread things on the mic here. But good morning, and thank you for having us today. I'm the operations manager at Western Service Workers Association, or WSWA. And Terry is the membership coordinator and a member of our association. We were introduced to Summit UU by Aline King, a longtime advisory committee member. So thank you very much, Aline, and thank you, UU, for also donating to our back to school distribution that we had a couple of months back. We spoke also at a social justice meeting and attended service that day and knew we had to continue working together because I think a lot of the principles and values of the people at UU and at WSWA are very much aligned. So WSWA is an all-volunteer, community-supported organization of some of the lowest-paid workers in San Diego. Since 1977, we've been around. All volunteer, open every day, 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., built by people who, want to see a better country, and a better life for working people. Like the hymn we did earlier said, come build a land that we want to see, and that's definitely what people at WSWA are about, is building something better. Many of our members do the work like you saw in the book. They are janitors, caregivers for the elderly or disabled. They clean hotels or restaurants or work in very labor-intensive jobs like in construction, landscaping, industrial power washing at the ships down at NASCO, and more. Others are disabled and on a fixed income. And some of our members are also victims of the floods in January 2024 in southeast San Diego, who've still never been fully compensated after losing their homes, and are people that we're advocating with and for. And these are essential workers. These are people who worked all during COVID, who are doing jobs that make San Diego run, tourism, work in the hotel industry, et cetera. But across the board, we're seeing more and more cases of our membership working 2 or 3 jobs just to be able to survive, barely being able to afford the most basic necessities. And I think all of us have seen the prices going up here in San Diego and are feeling that in our pockets, our wallets. San Diegans actually pay the highest electricity rates in the entire nation. And we pay 2 times the national average for water. Which is, a life-giving force, is an essential thing. We've also ranked among the top 5 highest rents in the nation for the past 5 years, at times being the most expensive city in the country. Right now, we are tied with New York City for highest inflation rate. And while SDG&E is making over $1 million in profit per day, many, many members have been coming in through our doors, shut off from their electricity. For example, one couple who came in recently, there was a man who worked in construction and his wife who had worked in security, and she had stopped working for a while because she was pregnant. They fell behind on their SDG&E payments, and they were shut off from their electricity for 2 months once their baby was born, with no lights, no ways to cook food. And they came in, and we got their lights through advocacy. We stay on the phone, and we don't give up. And that's one of the principles of WSWA. We keep on going, perseverance. But we got their lights turned back on almost immediately. And that is the power of organization. We did the same thing just a while back with another member who was a retired teacher on Social Security, who was on a breathing machine. We got on the phone for 7 hours with various volunteers rotating in and out of talking to the different managers, and got her lights turned back on the exact same day, even though we were told it was not possible. It was. It just took people, not giving up and working with others. And although recent government policies cutting social programs for low-income workers and small, as well as small businesses struggling, which is leading to more labor cuts, although these things are a recipe for disaster for San Diego's lowest-paid workers and their families, we do have a slogan here at WSWA, which is "Don't mourn, organize." That there are solutions to these problems, and the one line that stuck out to me too in the book that we just read through was the mom saying, "To be there when other workers need my help." That's the idea of WSWA, is coming to each other's aid and working together to build solutions. So with that, I wanted to turn it over to Terry to explain a little bit more about our positive program and what we're building together.
WSWA runs a self-help benefit program where we distribute 1 to 2 tons of food every week. We also bring the support of volunteer attorneys who donate legal advice and educational sessions. Our members are especially interested in advice about workplace violations and wage theft, where they work and they are paid less than they are owed, or sometimes not paid at all. We've been able to win back wages. We run monthly general medical sessions with a volunteer doctor, nurse, physical therapist, and massage therapist. This way, we're able to cover the urgent needs of our members while all building community support to fight for more substantial change. For example, after a decade-long campaign, WSWA forced the city to end water shutoffs to all San Diegans. They were shutting off water to 24,000 people and every year because they couldn't afford their water bill, and now they can't do it anymore, so that people can have the basic necessities to wash, shower, flush toilets, hygiene that we need when we have water. As a retired business owner on Social Security, my bills are now over 60% of my income. If my water bill continues to go up and my Social Security gets cut, I'm in real danger of becoming homeless. I have been homeless before, and this is unacceptable in the richest country on earth. On October 28th, this Tuesday, we will be attending a city council hearing to speak out in opposition to the proposed 62% rate increase that they're proposing for the water. They originally held this hearing last month, but they tabled the decision to October 28th. So we are going out in force again. As some of us members said, they demand for the cost of water to go down, not up. Doug K. was with us last time. Thank you, Doug. And we invite each and every one of you to come out and join us on behalf of so many San Diegans who find that they've got too much month at the end of their money.
And so we build a real voice and real strength through building organization that's really, truly of, by, and for low-income service workers. We also put out the call for our government to support the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Has anybody heard of these before, the SDGs? Little show of hands. Okay, I think we talked about that. Yeah, in the Social Justice Committee. They're not, super well known, but these are 17 goals with time-framed plan of action put out by the United Nations. And the U.S. signed on to it, as well as every country in the United Nations. It starts with ending poverty is goal number 1, ending hunger, good health and well-being for all at all ages, quality education, gender equality, urgent action to combat climate change, and more. And they are the most important, most pressing needs of our world, and of course, San Diegans as well. This is something the federal government signed on to in 2015. Earlier this year, the federal government officially came out and said they renounce and reject the Sustainable Development Goals. Again, the goal of ending poverty. But that is very much a goal that WSWA endorses, backs, fights to hold our government accountable to, and invites others to do the same, because these things are very achievable in a country with as many resources and as many hardworking, amazing people as ours. And so, with all of that said, let me see here. With all of that said, we are all volunteer, and because of that, we need your support in any and every way possible. Some will participate by volunteering on our advocacy sessions to fold clothing, distribute food, and make food bags, to stop a utility shutoff. We got like 8 van loads full of clothing the other day. We need a lot of people to help with distributing it. We need people to do mail-outs. If you have amazing handwriting and you've been looking for a way to put that to use, we have a way for you. To let our supporters and members know about our recent campaigns and how they can be more involved. We have, if you're a volunteer, if you're a doctor or a dentist or an immigration attorney or an attorney in general, you are vitally needed as a volunteer. So if you are one, please come and let us know. Or if you know one, volunteer your brother or something. Others will help by introducing us to their friend groups, help host food or clothing distributions. And of course, the holidays are coming up, and we're collecting toys and all the fixins for Thanksgiving. And there's also the hearing this Tuesday as well, where people are meeting us at our office at 11:30, and we're heading down to City Hall together to make sure that people have affordable water, the affordable basics in our communities. So you're very needed. And if anything that we set up here today makes any sense to you, please stay, back after the service to chat a little bit more with us. And if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer. And then we'll have little clipboards for if you'd like to sign up to get some information about how to volunteer or talk a little bit more. But thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Hannah. It's always an inspiration to hear you. think you took my papers, though.
Here we go. I did. I took all of them. There you go.
So now is our time of giving and receiving, and our Sunday morning offering is a gift that provides Summit UU Fellowship the resources to keep the lights on and to do all the maintenance and to pay our staff. The smallest gift is welcome. For those of you on Zoom, the link can be found in the chat box and also on summituuf.org. Please select the Sunday plate option to allocate your donation. And so Barbara has a song for us.
Just a little comment. This is If I Had a Hammer. I can't play this without mentioning Pierre Vaughn. We had just such fun. We did this twice here, and he was such a great singer and great spirit. And song about the love between the brothers and sisters, Hammer of Justice and Bell of Freedom. And now if you would rise once more, if you are able, to sing hymn 116, I'm on my way. And before you get up, you might want to grab the hymnal because you're going to need it for this one, because there's a twist to this. Rin, sorry I didn't give you full disclosure on this because anyway, it's going to be fun, trust me. So you want to find 116 in the gray hymnal. I'm going to get up here for just a second. So if you look at your hymnal, and if you've got one, if you're next to somebody who's got it, look at it because you're not going to see the italicized words here. And I'm trying to think about how to do this equitably. We've got our biggest group here right down the middle. And then we have some of you over on this side, some of you are on this side. You all are doing standard text. So you're going to do, I'm on my way. And then the people on the sides are going to sing, I'm on my way. So it's going to go like this, I'm on my way. And you guys, and then you all sing, to the freedom land. I'm on my way. You guys, to the freedom land. No, you guys. I'm on my way to the freedom land. Okay, now everybody. I'm on my way. Great God, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Okay, let's do this.
We got it.
We got it. And you online people sing wherever you want to. People in the middle.
Great job. What a choir we have. We need more songs like that. Please be seated. And before we finish off, I'd like to thank Rin for planning this service and for Hannah and Terry coming to join us. And also a special blessing for Jessica, whose babies are coming into the light of the world on Monday, the 3rd of November. Forgot that under joys and concerns, so I had to stick that joy in. And so after we turn off the chalice, where's my mind? After we extinguish the chalice, we'll have a 5-minute break, and then Hannah will answer questions from you about Western Service Workers and how else you can help. So Roland, speed your way up here. And we then now, in slow motion, we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. Those we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And so now if you're willing to stand and hold hands, if not, hold your heart and sing our Together Hand in Hand song. We got everybody in there? Listo. If you could take your seats now, please. Hannah would be happy to answer some questions now. You take your seats, please. Got so stirred up with that last hymn, I guess we got. Do you have the mic? Okay, who has a question for Hannah or for Terry? Oh, there, okay. Okay, who's got a question for Hannah? or comment, or thank you, or something. There's one over here.
Do you have a business card, or do you have like
We-
information that you give out to people so we can take it from here?
Yes, we have our newsletter and our sponsors guide, which has our office phone number, address, and a bunch more articles on the work that we do, which we set out on the side table to the right out in front of these doors. Yeah, but the articles are really good too. They give more of an update on our recent campaigns, on the benefit cases we're working on, and stuff like that too. Yeah.
And I have a donation.
Oh, for the church, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, when you raise your hand, introduce yourself so we know who you are.
Hi, I'm Margot Mariana, and thank you. That isn't a big enough word for all you do. It's just so moving, and what you reminded us today and in the story was the same thing about who in the heck decided that janitors were worse than corporate people. I mean, hello, they give you a graceful place to go pee, they give you a graceful place to be clean and be just things that are so taken for granted. And, this may not be a fit place to answer this, but who set the standard, or where did the standard get set for who gets paid what salaries, and is that statewide? Is it nationwide? Is it a combination of both? I'm so glad to see people like these groups standing up and speaking up for themselves and making it known. I mean, why are they less worth than a corporate officer? And just the sense of the worth of people based on what they do. That's true for anybody. There's minimum wages. And I was also shocked to hear that the state of California is where it is with the state of homelessness. And there was a story on that was shocking. They said, if this keeps going, we're all going to have to get out of San Diego kind of thing. That it's just, what do we do to balance this out besides, what you're continuing to do, but any other thoughts or that? And again, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for your question. Yeah. So I've been a volunteer organizer with WSWA for the last 8 years or so. And through that, have really learned a lot about like the service industry in general. In the United States, we've moved away from industrial work that was once like the main hub of the industrial, the economy of the country to an economy based off of service work. As a lot of corporations, decided to go overseas to exploit people overseas even more than they were exploiting people here, and to make a higher profit from it. And what stayed was a lot of the service work jobs, which is a lot of the jobs that our membership do. And they're essential jobs, but in a lot of these industries, in tourism, in, for example, real estate, what is real estate built off of? It's construction that makes all these beautiful homes, and the house cleaning that, keeps these homes pristine, and the landscaping, to make sure it looks beautiful and there's a high retail value. But a lot of the employers for these industries, what I've found over the years is that the smaller guys usually, like, they know their employees. They try to pay them well. They try to, do the best they can. But a lot of the really, really big guys, that's where it's just about bottom line, cutting corners. How can we get the cheapest labor, with the least benefits possible, to have the highest profit margin? And so that's where we found a lot of instances of wage theft, for example, with our membership. Some people even working, it'll be like Marriott or some of these really big names that'll hire a contractor, hiring a contractor that's doing wage theft. And so it doesn't go back to Marriott, in that link, but they do that on purpose, knowing, that this is what's happening. But it's to have very cheap labor, and in those cases we find people who worked for sometimes 2-3 weeks, and then they get told, yeah, we don't have any pay for you, and they get ghosted, by the person who'd employed them, and things like that. And so we fight that on the individual basis, advocating for that person at the labor board. Oftentimes we find if we hadn't gotten involved, they never would have got remuneration. But when we get involved, they often do. They often, with our volunteer attorneys, with an organization behind them, it's shown that they're not alone, and they can't just be, exploited alone, by themselves. but there's, people behind them, and oftentimes we've been able to win those back wages. But on a bigger scale, that whole pattern of, a lot of the largest, for example, the Fortune 500s that call San Diego home, exploiting working people, and then not having actual consequences for doing that, while getting tax subsidies and other things like this, we see the best way to combat that is through an organized community, is through people joining together, starting with the lowest paid workers on up. That's why we start as an organization of service workers, so that they, have a real voice, but we unite with our membership, professionals, small business owners, students, and others, who all see that we are in the same pot of soup, and who can come together and have more strength to do something about these things. Go down to the public hearings, or like Terry had talked about, how we were able to, stop all water shutoffs in the city of San Diego. That was an effort that took a decade of being told by the city, there's no possible way that this could be done fiscally, this wouldn't make sense, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they did it. So, but it really, to answer the question, and I think the best way to combat that that very unequal, unfair situation of those at the top setting the price of our labor, which is usually less than what we need to survive, to change that, it really takes an organized community, and that's what we're building. But yeah.
I'm an old sage off the stage, but I encourage you to volunteer. It's really, Hannah and all of those that are associated with this worthy organization, it's just kind of a shot in the arm to be around young people and enthusiastic with a motive and a direction. So I encourage you to volunteer.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Iris. I talked to you guys already. Thanks. I thought it was really great what you guys are doing. Because, my husband and I, affected that directly, because he's always been in, the janitor, custodian, and now, in the last 4 years, working for Singing Hills, what I was telling you, and previously VA House. But VA House, he was in the union. The one department was union, and the rest of it wasn't, and they still didn't really help him out. So the fact that they're sovereign nation, they're not abiding by a lot of this. He was he's been out on medical leave since April, and they won't take him back unless he has no restrictions. So I was contacting lawyers, and I didn't find any lawyers. They kept telling me they're not going to take it on because it's sovereign nation and they won't go against them. So they're kind of getting away with, I don't even think they follow the ADAs or anything. And now his benefits are ending the end of this month, so that affects both of us. So I just feel it's like a trickle down thing, and they nobody really cares, it's and then SDGini, when he was in a nursing home for a while, they cut off his electricity, and they said, "Oh, we can't turn it on unless he pays the full bill," and it was $800.
That's always what they say.
That's insane. And I mean, I felt like I had to pay it and come up with it, or else he's going to come home to no electricity. So, yeah, what you're doing are great. I really support it. So
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
thank you.
it's and you guys aren't alone. We get people in our office almost every day, with very similar situations. But we always say when we have common problems, we can fight together for common solutions. And they're out there. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name's Roland. I'll go. One of my heroes is Tom Petty. And he said something that is so appropriate to what you're doing. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. Don't back down. If you have a gripe, if you have a complaint for SDG&E, for anyone, be prepared to spend an hour. If you want to speak to somebody in Portuguese, press 1. If you want to speak to a human being, press 8.
I feel like I'm on the phone with them right now.
Exactly. And you actually have to say, are you a human being? Because sometimes it's not even a person. And one key phrase is, May I speak to a supervisor, please? May I speak to a supervisor, please? Climb the food chain. They hate that. You can get onto Google and you can find out who all of their officers, all of their board is. And when you're going to send that one email out, send it to 35 people. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a lot of our, when we are spending all this time on the phone, it's a lot of, let me talk to the person above you. But yeah, absolutely.
So I'm Aline. I forgot to say who I was, but I still am. Anyway, I've been working with Western Service Workers now for over 15 years, and it happened when I was advocating for Americans for the Department of Peace. I had an eagle puppet, and I forgot to bring it today, but I was sharing a table with Western Service Workers, and I hadn't heard about them yet, and they hadn't heard about Americans for Department of Peace. And so in between talking to the crowd on Imperial Avenue, I was doing my puppet, and then we got talking to each other, and that was the beginning. And to come down sometime to 3014 Imperial and see the operations building and the center where they distribute food and clothing to members, it's just amazing. When I first started many years ago with them, that part that's now the service center had a dirt floor, a ceiling open to the sky, 2x4s on the walls, and now you wouldn't recognize it. It's a beautiful building with a medical suite, a law office, a table with chairs around it for conferences, for the food locker, the clothes locker. I mean, it's just amazing to see what's happened with people gathering together. So you may think, well, my ripple doesn't make a difference, but it does. Every ripple makes a difference. So come on down and see how you can help. Sometimes it's monetary, sometimes it's in person, sometimes it's on the phone, sometimes it's for a product like a box of copy paper. There's lots of ways to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And too, just to speak to that, with the renovation of our office, we run all volunteer, top to bottom. We also are all community supported. We don't take any government funding to make sure that we can. There's no limits on who we can serve, who are our members. That in times like now, when a lot of programs are being cut, we can continue, with what we're doing. So that means that the, building of our medical room and legal consultation rooms and all these things were donated. I mean, there was a carpenter who built our front counter from scratch out of donated wood from La Mesa Lumber in the back of our office. All of the paint, all of the wood, all of the everything, was donated. The labor was our members and volunteers, volunteer contractors, etc. Every person, every stamp that's put on an envelope, everything is donated, and it's run that way since 1977. Everybody's there because we believe we can build a better world, and everybody has a different skill or resource or talent or interest that can be part of what we do. So definitely, before you leave, we'll pass our clipboards around, and if you're interested, there might be some way, that you could plug in or help out somehow. But yeah. Anything else?
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Have a
Coming around with these real quick.